Stam Garden Center, your one-stop shop for spring. Transform your indoor and outdoor space with our stunning selection. Visit us today, open 9 to 6, Monday through Saturday, located at 2421 Highway 92, Oskaloosa.
The Ruckus is bringing the party to the Metro, June 7th and 8th at Adventureland Resort, with Friday headliner Chris Young.
I've got some famous
Saturday headliner Jake Owen.
yeah, caught up in a southern summer.
Russell Dickerson, Maddie and Tay, Lauren Elena, Brian Kelly, and more. Festival tickets include access to the theme park and water park. Get your tickets at ruckusiowa.com.
Use code word Steve for 25% discount for weekend VIP and weekend general admission tickets.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the thousands listening locally and the millions listening around the world. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to shuffle!
Greetings, Earthlings, and welcome to a Tuesday edition of the Morning Wake Up here on Steve Shetler Media. It's brought to us by, of course, Stam Garden Center and Nursery, where you can experience the color at Stam Garden Center and Nursery, just outside of Oskaloosa on Highway 92 East, open Monday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m., closed on Sundays. Experience the color. Do it. Stam Garden Center and Nursery in Oskaloosa. We broadcast live every weekday morning from the Oski Dental Studios, where you can schedule your appointment with Dr. Schuster or Dr. Drawn, 641-673-4845. They are accepting new patients, going to file your insurance forms for you. They're a Delta Dental provider at 902 South 17th Street in Oskaloosa. Let's jump into our forecast to kick things off today. Weather brought to us by the Garden Gate at 105 South Jefferson and Sigourney. Cindy Dillon Dietrich, the owner, and you can stop in hours Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, Saturdays, 9 to noon. For today, there is a chance of some isolated showers, maybe a thunderstorm, and cloudy skies to start today, gradually becoming mostly sunny. We'll warm up to a high of 82. Tonight, we'll have an 80% chance of showers and thunderstorms, and could produce some heavy rainfall. A low of 60 degrees. Rainfall amounts tonight between a quarter to a half an inch possible. Tomorrow, sunshine, 82. A little bit on the breezy side tomorrow. Clear skies tomorrow night, low of 58. Thursday will be sunny, breezy, and 76. Right now, let me look at current conditions here in southeast Iowa. We have humidity at 84%, southeast winds at 5 to 10 miles per hour, the barometer at 29.68, and 68 degrees currently in southeast Iowa. Your weather brought to us by the Garden Gate. All right, earlier this morning, as we do every weekday morning at 6 a.m., we put up our This or That. It's brought to us by Stacy Flynn at the Legacy Insurance Group and Welcome Realty. And what are you going to do? If you had the option, would you pause time, kind of right where you're at, or would you rewind time? Would you go back in time? Now, I was thinking about this. If I were to rewind time, would I know what I know right now when you rewind your time? Do you know things that happen in the future if you were to rewind time? Are you following? Excuse me, I got the coughs this morning. Got to turn my microphone down every once in a while. But anyway, am I overthinking it? So are you going to this pause time? Or are you going to that rewind time? I'd probably rewind. I'd probably go back and check things out in the past. That's your this or that, brought to us by Stacy Flynn at the Legacy Insurance Group and Welcome Realty. Coming up later on today, we will have our question of the day. It's brought to us by Amy's Salon House and Spa at 202 North Main in Sigourney. Call or text for an appointment, 641-622-3772. Do high-price concert tickets keep you from going to concerts? That also just speaks to your fandom. All right, how big of a fan are you? How much money are you willing to spend? That might have been a better way to do this question. How much money are you willing to spend to see a concert? But anyway, we'll keep it the way it is. Do high-priced concert tickets keep you from going? Do you stay at home instead of going to high-priced concerts? So let me know your thoughts on that when that goes up at noon on Steve Shetler Media Facebook. Hey, congratulations yesterday. We crowned a new number one. Dan is the man. Is Dan? Yes, Dan just chimed in this morning. So number one, most engaged fan for this past week is Mr. Dan Adams. Very active here on Steve Shetler Media. Definitely appreciate Dan's likes, comments, and shares. He's been hanging around that top spot for a while now, and he finally ascends to the throne. He is number one, Dan Adams. That top three right there, Dan, Doty, and Allen, a lot of points being scored by those three if you look at the points that they earned for their engagement this past week. But Dan is number one. Let's see here. Top 10 is Dan, Doty, Allen, Brianna, Bruce, Chad, Craig, Lacey, Sherry, and Nancy. A lot of familiar names in there and some new ones as well. So, Dan, congratulations to you. You are number one. Get those likes, comments, and shares going, and you can move up that list for next week. Going on right now, we've got our For the Fun of It tournament, and this is for the 90s Country Superstar. Overall 90s Country Superstar tournament. This is all the heavy hitters going at it in this tournament. Our matchup right now, going till 6 p.m. this evening, is Reba versus Sawyer Brown. And our tournament brought to us by Son-in-Law Services, Josh Clubb, handyman in the Sigourney area, 319-431-1806, Son-in-Law Services, our sponsor of this month's tournament. So today's matchup, Reba versus Sawyer Brown. That goes until 6 p.m. Get your votes in. Last check I saw was Reba had a pretty decent lead. There is your full brackets. George Strait won his first-round matchup. It looks like Reba will be winning her first-round matchup. We're going to jump down to the corner there with Alabama and Kenny Chesney coming up next. That'll go up at 6 p.m. this evening. So Alabama was the group duo winner of their tournament, and they'll be taking on Kenny Chesney next. So look for that matchup. After that, we got Toby and Tim. So some, as we mentioned, heavy hitters. All the 90s country heavy hitters in this tournament for the month of June. Let's take a look at this. Coming up tonight, we'll be going to Smoky Row in Oskaloosa for TNT. It's Dynamite. Tuesday night tune-up, getting you ready for the racing week ahead. It's our racing show, Tuesday night tune-up. That's at 7 p.m. every Tuesday night through August 13th. Safe Grafke is your host. Curtis Vanderwall usually hanging around. And sometimes Neil Crott accompanies me to Smoky Row to help set up and just keep the show flowing and people laughing. So tune in. We'll have a good time. We've got, as you can see there, tonight's guest is racer Trip Gaylord. That's a cool racing name. Trip Gaylord. So tune in. Trip, you see his number 77 car there in the picture. Trip will be our guest on tonight's TNT. So tune in 7 o'clock from Smoky Row. That's something else. If you want to stop in to Smoky Row and check things out in person, you can do that too. That's totally up to you if you want to do that. Coming up on Friday, we'll go to Barnwired in Sigourney. Jason Kinsel going to be coming to Barnwired in Sigourney, 11:30 to noon. Live interview, live original tunes on Friday. I've talked to Jason a few times over the years on the radio. This will be our first Steve Shetler media interview, so check it out in person or online coming up on Friday with our Iowa Music Showcase. And then on Saturday, we go to Brothers Market in Sigourney, the sports section. Mitch Eslick, your summer host. And coming up this Saturday morning is going to be a neat one. We're going to be featuring motorsports on the sports section. And neither Mitch nor I know a ton about racing or motorsports, but we're going to have three of our young adults, we'll put it that way, some young adults coming in to Brothers Market on Saturday morning at 8 a.m., including Braden Woods, Krista Sellers, and Xander Bell, who do racing, figure eights, motocross. So we'll be talking to those three young adults coming up this Saturday morning for our sports section live from Brothers Market in Sigourney. So that should be a neat one. Is that it for now? Let's look at some community calendar events. I do want to, draw attention to a few different events coming up this weekend and here in the near future. At the Watch Your Opera House, coming up on Saturday at 7 p.m., are the Country Buddies. You see the three buddies there in the picture? You can, as it says, spend the evening at the Watch Your Opera House listening to your favorite classic country songs. So check that out. Free will donation show at the Watch Your Opera House coming up on Saturday evening. Also coming up on our calendar, we'll put a plug in for the Southern Iowa Fair coming up on Saturday, July 20th. Eddie Montgomery of Montgomery Gentry, Dylan Carmichael, and the boys from right here in Iowa. Going to be putting on a great show at the Southern Iowa Fair in Oskaloosa. Make sure you get your tickets for that great event. Also coming up this weekend, Art on the Square in Oskaloosa from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. That great annual art show on the square in Oskaloosa. They should have fantastic weather for that event. So check that out coming up in Oskaloosa. Let's put my ugly mug on the screen. There we are. Our morning wake up brought to us by Stam Garden Center and Nursery from the Oski Dental Studios. Let's get caught up on who's in the comments here. We've got Bubby, Nancy, Dixie, Dodie, Tamara, Cindy, Jackie, Sherry, number one fan Dan. We'll just start calling him number one fan Dan. Those are the folks. Good morning to you all. I know there's more people out there watching as well. So good morning to you for the morning wake up brought to us by Stam Garden Center from the Oski Dental Studios. Should we jump into some birthdays? Let's go ahead and do some birthdays. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. A good morning to you, Renee. Thanks for hanging out. Let's see here. In birthdays for today, celebrity and hometown birthdays brought to us by Hometown Real Estate, Nikki Leathers at hometown-re.com. You can also find her on Facebook or give her a call, 641-295-4142. Hometown Real Estate with our celebrity and hometown birthdays. In some hometown birthdays, it's kind of been a slow stretch here this week so far on our hometown birthdays. Only one to get to today, and that is Mark Spolstra. Mark, happy birthday to you. Have a great day today on this June 4th. Celebrity birthdays for today. We've got actor Bruce Dern turning 88. Actor Parker Stevenson, 72 years old. Baseball player Tony Pena, 67. El DeBarge is 63. Got basketball player Xavier McDaniel, 61. From Saturday Night Live, Horatio Sands is 55. Actor Noah Weil, 53. Russell Brand, the actor, 49. And actress Angelina Jolie is also 49 years old. Celebrity and hometown birthdays brought to us by Hometown Real Estate. All right, on this date in history, again, today is June 4th. On this date, it was on this day in 1886, Henry Ford drove the very first Ford-built car down Bagley Street in Detroit, Michigan. So Henry Ford going for a cruise in 1886. It was on this date in 1942, during World War II, the Battle of Midway began. That was 1942. And then also on this date, hey, we're the Monkees. 1967, the Monkees won an Emmy for Outstanding Comedy Series. 1967 for the Monkees. Today, on the National Day calendar, today is National Hug Your Cat Day. So I'll be sure to give our cat a hug. Also, some of our outside cats, I'll give them hugs if I can round them up, wrangle those little kitties. It's National Clean Beauty Day. Don't know what that means for sure. It's National Safe Day. It's National Cheese Day. And it's National Old Maids Day. So celebrate those days on the National Day calendar. Before we go any further, let's take once again a look at our headline sponsor, which is Stam Garden Center and Nursery.
Stam Garden Center, your one-stop shop for spring. Transform your indoor and outdoor space with our stunning selection. Visit us today, open 9 to 6, Monday through Saturday, located at 2421 Highway 92, Oskaloosa.
Tassel Ridge also offers 9 different rosé wines that range from dry to semi-sweet and on to fully sweet wines. All are very fruity and all can be chilled and sipped or served with spicy dishes like Asian stir-fries, Mexican, and Moroccan couscous. Where white wines may not have enough body for all consumers or for all meals, red wines may have too much flavor. A rosé has more body and flavor than does a white, but less than a red wine. Our driest rosé is St. Croix Rosé. The semi-sweet rosés are American Pink Catawba, Oski Fazanti Red, Sweet Roxy Red, and Iowa Steuben. The sweetest rosés are Oski Fazanti Pink, Oski Fazanti Cranberry, Cranberry Wine, and Rockets Glare Rosé. When asked for my favorite, I usually think of Iowa Steuben. Iowa Steuben is a very fruity, semi-sweet rosé that is very popular. It's also versatile since it can be chilled and sipped, or it can also be used to complement many foods.
Alrighty, we thank our sponsors for making our broadcast possible here on Steve Shetler Media. Morning Wake Up brought to us by Stam Garden Center and Nursery. We're hanging out in the Oski Dental Studios. Let's do some things you need to know. Oh yeah. Woo-hoo. Things you need to know on this Tuesday. Let's see here. Former Dallas Cowboy died suddenly on Sunday while on vacation with his family in Mexico. Team announced that yesterday. He was just 52 years old, which me, coming up on my 52nd birthday, doesn't seem all that old. So rest in peace to Larry Allen, a former Dallas Cowboys football player. Let's go to Twitter, known now as X, as spotted by TechCrunch, a website. X updated its guidelines to let users, quote, share consensually produced and distributed adult nudity or sexual behavior, unquote, as long as it's labeled and not in a prominent location, such as a profile picture or banners. So, Twitter and porn. It's an interesting combo. Might want to keep your kids off of that. Let's see other things you need to know. 30 years after police raided Herb Baumeister's 18-acre property north of Indianapolis, they're still sifting through 10,000 pieces of human remains, mostly crushed and burned skeletal fragments of the teenage boys and young men whom he allegedly abducted and murdered back in the 80s and 90s. So that's fairly disturbing. Speaking of disturbing people, Canadian serial killer Robert Pickton, who was convicted of killing 6 women and confessed to killing dozens more, has died after being attacked earlier this month by another inmate. Pickton is one of the most notorious serial killers in Canadian history, bringing his victims to his pig farm and feeding their remains to his animals. Wow. Let's see here. Other things you need to know. Star Trek actor Zachary Quinto has been banned from visiting a Toronto restaurant after he allegedly mistreated the staff and caused quite a scene in front of their customers. Interesting. By the way, looking at my stream right now, I think my Facebook stream is a little wonky right now. Hopefully that'll clear itself up here momentarily. Other things you need to know. A check on CEOs that run companies in the S&P 500 shows that they earned almost 200 times what the average employee makes. I mean, that makes sense, doesn't it? They're the boss. They own everything. Why wouldn't they make more than their average employee? Of course, they're going to make a lot more. Mexico has elected Claudia Sheinbaum, their first ever female president, over the weekend. She's also their first Jewish president in Mexico. So that's interesting development. It also took a couple of years for a Toronto woman to finally get diagnosed with what's wrong with her. She has Otto Brewery syndrome. I think we've talked about this with somebody else recently. It's known as gut fermentation syndrome. It's an extremely rare condition in which the bacteria and fungus in the gastrointestinal tract turn the carbohydrates in everyday food into ethanol. Think about that. You'd have ethanol inside of you. Some 300 people in the world have been diagnosed with this syndrome. I mean, when they sweat or they go to the bathroom, is ethanol coming out of them? Can we use these people for fuel? That is the question. Other things you need to know. After 41 years and over 4,000 episodes of Wheel, be sure to record that. Set your DVRs, your VCRs, and whatever Rs you got. Let's go to the census. Census numbers say that over 126,000 people left Canada for the United States in 2022. It's a 70% jump increase from over a decade ago. So, elections roll around. Donald Trump is involved. You get celebrities and people saying, oh, we're going to go to Canada if Trump is elected. But people are actually moving to the United States from Canada. Let's go to the literary world. Author James Patterson got a call a couple of years ago from the widow of Michael Crichton, asking if he would finish a book that Crichton had started. It's called Eruption, and it's out now. It's written by Michael Crichton and James Patterson. Might want to check that out. Eruption, from those two authors. And finally today, is this on? I have an announcement to make. An announcement from Costco that the $1.50 hot dog and soda combo meal will be staying at $1.50. I mean, did they come up to the microphone like that? And, excuse me, we have an announcement to make. The Costco hot dog and soda combo will be staying at $1.50. Thank you. Anyway, let's do this. Today's impossible question. Today's impossible question is, will my Facebook stream figure itself out? A few of you people are hanging on. Otherwise, my Facebook stream is killing me this morning. Let's see here. Impossible question. Almost 40% of married couples say the one thing they would change about their wedding is what? Good morning to you, Chad, Rebecca, Amy, Kevin. Again, your impossible question. Almost 40% of married couples say the one thing they would change about their wedding is what? What would you change about your wedding? I'm trying to think. I I think our wedding went pretty good. I don't know. Yeah, I need to make a video of when I sang to my wife for our wedding. You guys would probably appreciate that. 40% of married couples say the one thing they would change about their wedding is the song for their first dance. What was your first dance song? I'm trying to think what that first dance song was. Maybe Sammy Kershaw? You are the love of my life. In some weird news, let's get weird in here.
That is weird.
In some weird news, Taylor Momsen. Good old Taylor Momsen. One-time Gossip Girl and longtime lead singer of the group called The Pretty Reckless. Possibly one of the most rock and roll experiences a person could ever have during a concert in Spain on Wednesday. She was singing the band's song called Witches Burn, and she got bit on the leg by a bat. Was this an outside venue? I'm not sure. But anyway, Momsen got bit by a bat during the concert. Says she's going to have to take some shots for the next couple of weeks. Rabies shots for the bat bite. Interesting. Let's go from that to some really disturbing, disgusting news. Baltimore police are investigating after 2 fetuses were found on a city bus in separate incidents days apart, according to reports. Out of Baltimore, the first fetus was found on June 1st by a bus driver who contacted police. Let's see here. Then on Monday, the outlets reported that a second fetus was found on the same bus. Man, that's just horrible. In some other weird news, visitors and protesters expected to gather this summer in Milwaukee for the Republican National Convention will be allowed to carry assault rifles to the convention, but they can't carry metal water bottles. You can take in your AR-15, but you can't take in your Stanley Cup inside the RNC's security footprint. Milwaukee prepares to welcome more than 50,000 delegates in mid-July. So just kind of a funny little thing on some of the laws and security. Other stuff going on in the weird, a church in South Dakota figuring out its next steps after someone vandalized the building with graffiti. Someone took spray paint to the Congregational United Church of Christ in Mitchell, South Dakota this week. The church is known for its acceptance of members of the LGBTQ community. However, this is not the first time the church has been vandalized. The Bible verse written on the church walls was from Leviticus, which reads, "You shall not lie with a male as with a woman. It is an abomination." Other stuff you need to know. Let's go to Taco Bell. Where's Neil Crott when you need? I should have saved this for tomorrow. Cheese lovers have something new and exciting to look forward to at Taco Bell. Fast food giant has teamed up with Cheez-It on 2 new menu items, the Big Cheez-It Crunchwrap Supreme and the Big Cheez-It Tostada. For those items at Taco Bell. Let's keep on moving here. Let's go to the files of Law and Disorder. In disorder, a juror was dismissed in Minneapolis on Monday after reporting that a woman dropped a bag of $120,000 in cash at her home and offered her more money if she would vote to acquit 7 people charged with stealing more than $40 million from a program meant to feed children during the pandemic. From the assistant U.S. attorney, quote, "This is completely beyond the pale." They say this is outrageous behavior. This is stuff that happens in mob movies. So again, someone trying to pay off a juror in that trial in Minneapolis. Should we do something that will make you smile? I mean, we can at least give it a shot. Let's bring up the correct graphic for you. Something to make you smile.
Something that makes you smile.
In Something That Will Make You Smile, it's brought to us by Lifetime Dental Solutions. And you know, they are moving. You can see it right there on your screen. You can see them at their new location, starting in mid-July at 115 South Jefferson Street in Sigourney. Previously owned by Sigourney Smiles, they're moving into that building. Accepting new patients, give them a call, 641-622-2669. It's Lifetime Dental Solutions in Sigourney with something to make you smile. And in something to make you smile, a couple that took up magnet fishing, which I've never heard of, magnet fishing during COVID-19, now has their uncommon hobby to thank for a massive windfall. James Kane and Barbie Augustini tell the news that they were looking for a way to take up treasure hunting without a large investment, and magnet fishing requires just a rope and a strong magnet. Now, hobbyists, let's see here. I'm trying to get my papers to come apart, and I have lost part of my story. I've lost part of my story. As a result, they ended up finding a bunch of old things in the bottom of a lake that are worth a lot of money. I lost the rest of my story. Worthless, stupid story. Hopefully that made you smile. The whole Something to Make You Smile story will go up on my Facebook page here shortly at 7:45, like it does every weekday morning. So be on the lookout, and you can read that whole story about magnet fishing and how that couple made out very well. Let's end this with some duh. In some duh. Yeah, this is so stupid. So stupid. Let's see here. A school district superintendent in central Massachusetts is quoted in a letter as saying, holding a mock slave auction is unacceptable. Yeah. Parents got this letter after a 5th grade teacher in Massachusetts was placed on leave. The superintendent said the teacher at the elementary school held, quote, an impromptu mock slave auction during a history lesson. They say, quote, the educator asked 2 children sitting in the front of the room who were of color to stand, and the educator and class discussed physical attributes, including teeth and strength. They say the N-word was also used while this was going on. So that teacher is officially an idiot and gets the duh. Duh. That is your moment of duh here on Steve Shetler Media. The Morning Wake Up, brought to us by Stam Garden Center and Nursery. Let's take a look at our forecast, brought to us by the Garden Gate. Isolated showers, maybe a thunderstorm today. After that, becoming mostly sunny and a high of 82. It'll shape up to be a decent day. Let's see here. We do thank Stam Garden Center and Nursery for sponsoring our Morning Wake Up. Experience the color just east of Oskaloosa on Highway 92. Open Monday through Saturday, 9 to 6. Of course, we broadcast from the Oski Dental Studios. Give them a call, 641-673-4845. Coming up later on today, let me look up at our schedule. Coming up later on today, of course, In Remembrance Of, that comes up each weekday at 8 a.m. At noon today, What's Happening? The What's Happening in Southeast Iowa video, a community calendar video, which shows a ton of different things that are going on in Southeast Iowa. That's at noon today. 5:30 is Successful Farming. Coming up at 6, The Brain Rewired with Iva Bontrager. And maybe we'll get a message out of Jackie Jarms from Be the Light Ministry. Maybe, possibly. Of course, we've got all of our other stuff. A question of the day. We'll have our tournament going on, For the Fun of It tournament brought to us by Son-in-Law Services. So just a ton of stuff going on Steve Shetler Media. We thank all of our sponsors. You know, it is Tuesday, so you can. I just saw the Heenaw for Sheriff ad scrolling through on my advertising. So get out there and vote for your local elections today. That's going on. So make sure you take part in that. All right. Otherwise, have a great Tuesday. I'll see you back here at 7 a.m. tomorrow with Neil Crott at my side here on The Morning Wake Up.